Story 1. My MIL called CPS on me. The incident that shocked me. This whole situation took me by surprise for several reasons. First, my MIL, mother-in-law, has never been a just no Jan in the past. We weren't best friends, but we got along just fine. Nothing about her behavior had ever raised any red flags before. The second, and much bigger issue, is that I don't even have kids. It all started when I was babysitting my friend's 7-year-old son. His mom was running late, so I was just hanging out with him, doing the usual thing. That's when I got the knock on the door. It was CPS demanding to know where my kids were. I was completely confused. I don't have kids, and I kept insisting to them that I had no idea what they were talking about. They kept asking if I didn't know where my kids were or if I'd somehow lost them. I was so flustered that I kept repeating, "I don't have kids." I was trying to explain, "You can check with anyone who knows me. You can ask my neighbors. I don't have kids." But they were insistent, and I had no clue why they were even there. Finally, after a lot of back and forth, they clarified that they were talking about the little boy I was babysitting. That's when I realized someone had called CPS on me. Thank goodness, his mom showed up right then, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But it was still so awkward. CPS asked her a ton of questions. Then they started grilling the poor boy with questions that terrified him half to death. At that point, I still had no idea who would do such a thing. I wasn't babysitting professionally. I was just helping out a friend who's going through a tough divorce and needed someone to watch her son. I've never hurt a child, and I never would. I would give my life before hurting a child, so the whole thing felt like a punch to the gut. Now, how do I know it was her who called CPS? We didn't tell anyone about the incident because it was traumatic, embarrassing, and we were just trying to figure out who would do something like that. But recently, my MIL was at our house when the boy was dropped off. She casually says, "His mom still lets you watch him after you were investigated by CPS?" That stopped me cold. I hadn't told anyone about what happened, but somehow she knew. I confronted her right then and there, but it didn't get anywhere. My husband stepped in and confronted her next. That's when she gave her excuse. She claimed she called CPS because she was worried about the little boy. She said she didn't think I had enough childcare experience and wanted to make sure I was doing everything right. She even brought up the fact that I let the kids stay up until 10 p.m. one night as a reason she called. But my husband wasn't buying that story. She then said she was just trying to protect us because the boy's parents are divorced, and she was afraid I might be kidnapping him since his mother dropped him off without the father's full permission. At that point, I was so furious I had to walk away. But then she broke down. And that's when she admitted the real reason. She was trying to make it harder for us to adopt a baby. Here's the thing. It's medically risky for me to become pregnant, and my husband and I had decided to adopt. Apparently, my MIL sees that as an attack on her, like I'm trying to end the bloodline. She thought that if we had a CPS record, it would ruin our chances of adopting. She wanted us to have to conceive naturally, even if it was dangerous for me. Thankfully, after the CPS investigation, they determined that there was no neglect. The little boy's mom dropped him off on purpose, and my house was clean and safe. The case is going to be closed soon, and we've got a lawyer working to have it expunged from our records completely. But honestly, I'm still so hurt and angry. I haven't really talked about it with anyone because I don't want the stigma of having been investigated by CPS. I'm also afraid that if I explain it, people will start thinking maybe there was something wrong. But mostly, I'm enraged that my MIL would try to sabotage my husband's and my dream of having a family just because it's not the way she imagined it. I've been considering Googling companies that make custom voodoo dolls or piñatas of her face. Seriously. Thanks for reading if you've made it this far. Comment 1. False reports can be reported to the police and in some states is a serious crime. Please ask your lawyer if there's any action you can take against her. Also, please consider and see. If she's willing to do this before y'all adopt, there's no tell what she will do during the process. My niece's adoption was just finalized, and we had about 100 different interviews and visits during CPS. Also, bring this to the attention of your adoption agency and the CPS caseworker who will be overseeing y'all's process when you do adopt. Do not be embarrassed of this. Be angry. You did nothing wrong. There is no reason to be embarrassed or ashamed of this. You are not neglectful or abusive to children. A vile woman made a false claim to purposely hurt you. There is nothing for you to be embarrassed or ashamed of, okay? When y'all do get ready for adoption, bring this up to the caseworker and explain what happened. Comment 2. Before the case is expunged, get a copy of the report. And get a statement from a mother if you can. Put copies of this in several good safe spots in case she escalates. And what everyone else is saying about keeping your MIL as far away from any future children as possible. Comment 3. She could have ruined a lot of your life. Your reputation, your future adoption. This is a huge deal, OP. Comment 4. That's beyond unacceptable, man. I can understand why you'd be angry. As well as your divorced friend, her kid must have been terrified. I hope your MIL plans to apologize to them too. She should be billed for CPS time as well. Terrible thing to do to family, for a ridiculous reason. Hope you're calming down. Story 2. I finally figured out the root of my rage toward my MIL after giving birth. Your honesty, support, and shared experiences have meant more to me than I can put into words. I don't have a traditional village. It's just me, my husband, and our baby. Navigating postpartum on top of dealing with my MIL's constant selfishness has been incredibly isolating and exhausting. Finding this subreddit has reminded me that a village doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes it's a group of strangers online who simply get it. And honestly, that's been more comforting and validating than I ever expected. So, thank you for giving me a place to vent, process, and feel a little less alone. Lately, I've realized that my anger toward my MIL isn't just about what she did during my labor and postpartum. It's deeper than that. It's the betrayal underneath it all. My husband and I struggled quietly with infertility for 3 years before we ever told his family. By then, we'd been together for 6 years and had also gone through a miscarriage. When we finally opened up to them, it was because we were preparing to take further steps with fertility testing, and we hoped for their support. She knew. She knew how hard the journey had been. She knew how deeply I wanted to become a mother. And still, when the time finally came, she chose to make my labor and delivery about her disappointment, her unmet expectations, her emotions. What hurts the most is knowing that if this ends up being my only birth experience, she tainted the one moment I fought so hard to reach. That's not something I think I'll ever be able to forgive. Has anyone else here gone through infertility and felt like their MIL's behavior just made everything that much harder? I'd really love to hear from others who can relate. Comment 1 me, right here. Infertility for so many years. Multiple losses, including my child's twin. Had to jump through hoops just to finally get and stay pregnant. And Mile made so many things an issue when she didn't get her way on everything to do with my child. Got mad when I had the audacity to want to be the one who had their first with them. She could have given two shits about us when dealing with infertility. She even had the audacity to tell me it was okay with her if I decided not to have a child because she already had other grandchildren. Hell, she even got pissed because I had the audacity to buy my kids' first Easter basket because she declared it was her thing to do for her grandkids. Never asked if it was okay, and I had already bought it. I really wanted to be like, lady, I didn't go through what felt like a million treatments, losses, and an insanely difficult pregnancy, so you could steal my one chance at this. In truth, I don't think I'll forgive her for making everything so frigging difficult surrounding my child's birth and first few years. Thank God COVID made it so no one could be in the hospital at all, or she'd have wrecked that too. Comment 2. This is me. B. It's ruined that moment for me, but now I think it's ruined my marriage too. My soul has told me to move on or get over it, and I think I've moved on and gotten over him. Comment 3. Someone directed me to this subreddit this week. Through my entire pregnancy, My MIL has only referred to the baby as her grandchild, and it has started to make me feel like little more than a surrogate. She's recently gotten really upset that we won't let her be in the delivery room, and it's been a huge source of stress for me. I'm lucky. I have my siblings and my fiercest friends for a village, and it's been really helpful. I'm glad you found a place to vent that was helpful for you, and I'm sending you all the good vibes. Your birthing experience should have been about you and your partner, not someone else's big feelings, and I'm really sorry she tainted that for you. Sending love and luck to you and your family. Story 3. What's one thing you'll never forgive your MIL for? I was in active labor with my second and needed to get to the hospital immediately. My MIL lives over an hour away, so my husband texted her to come watch our oldest. Her response? Labor takes a long time, and that she needed to pray for her brother who had passed away months earlier. For context, she's Filipino and Catholic. An hour later, she finally texts back saying they're on their way. The pain was unbearable. We were literally sitting in the car, bags packed, just waiting, watching our oldest through the baby monitor because we couldn't leave until she arrived. When she finally showed up, we rushed to the hospital. I was checked as soon as we got there, 8 centimeters dilated. Things were moving fast. An hour later, I was still in triage when I let out a scream. My water had broken, and I needed a push. It was like something out of a movie. Nurses rushing in, moving me on a gurney to the delivery room in a blur. I asked if it was still possible to get an epidural. The nurse said no. It was too late. This wasn't part of my birth plan. Yes, I know people give birth without pain meds all the time, but I had planned for an epidural. I wanted that support. And I feel like that option was taken from me because my MIL didn't come when we first asked her to. To make it worse, she's always been vocal about how I shouldn't get an epidural because it's not good for you. Thanks, but no thanks, my body, my choice. I went through a traumatic labor that could have played out very differently if she had just respected our urgency. Every time I think about the birth of my daughter, I feel rage and resentment toward her. I honestly don't know if I'll ever forgive her for this. Comment 1. Making my daughter cry the day before graduation. My daughter who loved her very much, but was made to feel worthless. I'll wash my hands of the evil bee. Comment 2. My MIL lecturing me about letting doctors give my 8-day-old low-dose antibiotics while she was in the NICU. She had almost died the day before in my arms. We didn't know what was wrong and why she wasn't eating. Oh, and 3 years later, when my daughter was on life support, and Mile canceled coming to visit because hanging out in the hospital is too boring. My daughter turns 10 next month, and Mile hasn't seen her in 5 years. I'm okay if she never sees her again. Comment 3. We used to have an amazing relationship. I thought of her as a second mother, especially since I didn't have a close relationship with my mom. We did a lot of fun things together. One day, I overheard her talking crap about me to a family friend. Said that she wished my DH was still with his ex before me. Broke my heart. And she complained when we were no longer close after that. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.